Hey, what's up ladies and gentlemen, it is I, the one and only Maxi here, and I am of course back for some more yet again for the likes of the Maxi Toys videos. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more Let's Play of Mario Kart Arcade GP for the arcade machines in my, well, homebrew channel Nintendo Wii emulation. So, last time we have managed to able to accomplish the Bowser Cup, and overall we did that a pretty good run if I do say so for myself. Especially noticeable because I'm almost gonna guarantee I'm almost gonna give myself my first loss throughout the majority of this playthrough. Well, most notably due to the forms of the rubber banding, but either way though, we got there in the end. So, yeah, today for this episode, this will be the finale in terms of Mario Kart Arcade GP, and that is of course we're going to be hit on to the final cup in the game, known as Rainbow Cup, which that cup is entirely related to the forms of Rainbow Road kind of tracks. So here we go on to the first course in the Rainbow Cup, and as you can see, this race doesn't have any items, so we're going to have to do this with itemless. So yeah, I think this is one of those cups you do have to get onto the forms of the special conditions, objectives or anything else like that. So, anyway though, so I believe this track is called, Rainbow Coaster, which I remember this correctly because I looked it up. So, yeah, what makes this, Rainbow Road a variation, it's kind of cool and interesting, is the fact that once you go through this little, portal right here, which usually divides in between two different environments, which was one of them is actually of course the Rainbow Road variation, and there was also the Sky Garden? Seriously, it does remind me of Sky Garden from the likes of Mario Kart Super Circuit, except, well, obviously this is on the arcade machine, so yeah, I know for the fact that, usually because I can see the actual beanstalks, as well as, well, I don't normally see flowers during any forms of Sky Garden level from the likes of the original Mario Kart Super Circuit, but at least it does look pretty cool though, to say the least. But eventually this is where the game starts to get pretty difficult later on though, especially noticeable because if you couldn't tell that the rubber banding on certain computer players will start to now catch up on you. And also that trying to perform the actual shortcuts when you're trying to able to actually just do a small hops in order to able to actually make the track a bit easier for you is actually kind of tricky to pull it off. Like, seriously, my timing skills on these little small hops feels a bit slightly iffy at points. But when you get the hang of it though, it might not be so bad though. But it's just the fact that sometimes it does take a while to get used to. So and obviously, if you couldn't tell, is the fact that this track, along with the forms of the next track we're going to be hit onto in a moment, this might actually be the only cup to able to have the shortest amount of laps, to be more specifically 2 laps, which is very similar to the forms of Wario Colosseum track from the likes of Mario Kart Double Dash. So, yeah, something's worth noting for this point, especially noticeable how lengthy these tracks are going to be, and especially noticeable it gets pretty challenging later on because of the forms of rubber banding, as well as specific items that will able to actually start to introduce for certain special conditions, because either way though, like, obviously the first course all you have to do is basically you have to win a race without any items on screen, by the way. So you probably get the idea of how tricky this can be. So but luckily for me, I did manage to able to do this on the first attempt, and everything else goes all fine and dandy. Especially noticeable because, again, I don't have to worry about just adding some more credits or quarters, and so I'm able to actually just able to keep on retrying and stuff like that. So yeah, that pretty much summed up is from there. So either way though, and yep, we'll go ahead and move on to the next round, which the next track we're going to be running to is Rainbow Downhill, which is basically like the exact same thing as Rainbow Coaster, except we're actually going to be going downhill. So because of that though, that might be the only differences from there. And also, as you can see on screen, we're going to be able to do this race with the dash mushrooms only. So, yeah, we're going to have to get used to with the forms of the singular item for the actual race itself. So, anyway though, Yeah, I know you guys are probably thinking about the fact that, is there going to be more to this game? Well, yes there is, but honestly I think I should probably skip it. Just like the forms of how it does it on any other Mario Kart Let's Plays. Well, some of them, like for instance Mario Kart 64, as well as the forms of Mario Kart Super Circuit, Mario Kart DS, Wii, 7, 8/8 Deluxe. I'm just gonna have to stick with just only one playthrough, because I already mentioned about this before. If you manage to do the forms of the extra variations of, you know, Grand Prix in particular, specifically the special mode in variation, as well as the 150cc mode, it's pretty much exactly the same thing, except it gets a bit trickier. So because of that though, I'm afraid I'm gonna have to bypass it though. Although it does have some cool other variations of certain tracks as far as I'm aware, and also certain racetracks can be in reverse, so you can able to actually drive the track a bit backwards and all that stuff, which is a pretty cool idea, and eventually I'll bring it back until Mario Kart Tour came around on the iPhone smartphone devices and all that stuff. So, you probably get the idea of how that goes. So, anyway though, so let's go ahead and just concentrate on this race for this point. So, and much like the forms of Rainbow Coaster, basically this track only contains 2 laps because it was quite lengthy, as well as from that, well, it gets a bit tricky at this point, because in addition to able to actually make the track a bit lengthy, but also trying to able to do a lot of drifting in this track can get pretty tricky, I'm not gonna lie. Especially noticeable because it's almost like some curves are a bit narrow to drift or something, which to be expected with most difficulties in terms of racetracks out there. So, and also if you probably noticed that why Peach was constantly in first place while she's able to use her mushroom, well, if you manage to go in front, or if you manage to assumedly go in first, sometimes those computer players will able to tend to use the mushroom straight away once you're in first. Like, for instance, if I was in, yeah, Peach just somehow use it straight off the bat, and basically it's going to have to, like, save it up until when you're able to, well, assuming if you get close. So, yeah, something's worth noting for when it comes to the rubber banding in this game sometimes, which that might be the only downside to this game though. Even then though, it gets improved in the forms of the sequel, which is of course Arcade GP2, but even then though, we'll talk more about that until November as I said earlier, so now we've accomplished that, and now let's go ahead and head back onto Rainbow Coaster again, except that as you can see, we're now going to be driving through a different environment. Well, to be more specifically, if we're able to go through the portal and stuff like that. And, oh yes, I remember this one. I've noticed that this is by far the most hardest race in the entire game, most notably because, for one, obviously we're going to be still able to go through Rainbow Coaster and stuff like that again, except now we now have some items, but usually, here's the catch, we're only going to use Thunder Sticks on this particular track, and sometimes then most people get frustrated with this particular racetrack, most notably because most computer players love to spam Thunder Sticks at you, and well, it's pretty tricky, I'm not gonna lie, especially noticeable because, well, to be expected by that point, and I'm pretty sure that Arcade GP2 managed to able to actually decide to do things a little bit differently. But, again, we'll talk more about that until whenever we get into Mario Kart Arcade GP2. So, although the only game exception is, of course, Mario Kart Arcade GP DX, because I have no idea of how do I able to actually set this up. Even though, mind you, we can't do it on the Wii, just because, well, obviously the DX sequel was actually the most recent release, and it's actually on the modern era, rather than just the forms of some sort of like a post-GameCube era, which, because of the forms of character models and stuff like that, which I have no idea why I really explain about this right now. So yeah, as you can see, rather than taking place in the actual Sky Garden, like above the skies and everything, along with these beanstalks and all that stuff, once you go for the portal, it actually takes place in the underwater kind of environment, which it does seem pretty cool at least, especially noticeable considering how the fact that, well, usually relatively speaking, I do like the actual the idea of how the fact that you would able to come across into, well, different themes every now and then. Of course, unfortunately though, the most recent release of Mario Kart Arcade GP DX, it seems to be the only Mario Kart game also that, for whatever reason, it doesn't have any Rainbow Road tracks, which is kind of a shame honestly, because normally in any other Mario Kart games, obviously includes Rainbow Road and all that stuff. Well, excluding Rainbow Coaster along with Rainbow Downhill on the 2 arcade games specifically. But it's kind of a shame they don't include the Rainbow Road tracks at all from the DX version, or the DX sequel for that matter. And as well as those, I don't think they actually include one either in Virtual Reality game. So yeah, it's kind of a shame honestly, because usually this is the most iconic thing in terms of every Mario Kart games released out there. So either way though, that pretty much sums it up for the sake of the forms of how the fact that I don't know if it's possible I can do Mario Kart Arcade GP DX anytime soon, unless if I was able to figure out how I supposed to do it, but not now though, just because, well, again, we've only just got started with the arcade series of Mario Karts, so, well, at least after all, we did manage to done the rest of the Mario Kart games already, but, well, assuming if Mario Kart 9 is in the works, which I'm really hoping that's to be the case, so. Anyway, so now let's move on to the last racetrack in the whole entire game, which is of course Rainbow Downhill again, except, well, obviously it takes place in underwater in some segments, and also we can now finally equip whatever items we go for. So because of that, let's go for the Miracle Mushroom and also the Reflect Shield in case if we're about to don't get affected on certain items in particular, as well as the forms of those tags, so that way we could able to actually just screw up some of these players. So, and once we're done with that, we can probably hit on to the last challenge game before we're done with the game. So, I know it seems kind of short, but because of this though, I was just gonna able to go through multiple playthroughs of this game, but here's the thing though, it might be a bit time consuming, and plus it plays out exactly the same, so that's why I'm going to have to go for just one regular playthrough. So because of that, though, I just want to point it out. So, oh yeah, something's worth mentioning that I suppose I haven't mentioned about this ever since Junior Forms in the past few weekends of this game. Apparently, though, that the UK broadcast channel, which is of course Tiny Pop, that one thing I totally forgot to mention is that in the My Little Pony Pony Live, the TV series, that I sort of felt a bit mixed on. But at least it's okay. I mean, it's not the best, in my opinion. But regardless of everything else, though, the second season is on its way, and it's gonna come out in the UK first, which is a bit weird, considering how the fact that the first season came out first on the Canada and UK later on, and eventually America. So every now and then, it's like a switcheroo. Like, for instance, Season 2 is going to be on its way until possibly next month. So, and of course, they did list quite a few episodes there. To be more specifically, the usual slice of life kind of, you know, individual episodes and stuff. Like, for instance, the first one is Cute Impact, and also the Crystal Capturing Contraption. And the second set of Spice of Life episodes, which is, or Slice of Life, which is Close Encounters of the Balloon Kind, and the Tiara of Truth, and Time After Time Capsule, and finally, the Great Cowgirl Hat Robbery. So, I think that's the only episodes I can think of in terms of the Season 2 of MLP or My Little Pony Pony Life. It'll be on its way. So because of that though, yeah, it's kind of weird that I'm actually going to be able to actually get those episodes first before anyone else gets it. Which I have no idea when is Canada able to actually release those episodes yet, or especially noticeable for America. So this is like 2020 all over again. Although, let's not talk about that right now, just because, obviously, we're on 2021 right now, so because of that, though, let's not talk about the negativity again, so because of that, though, yeah, that pretty much usually summed up as, like, usually becomes more accurately the exactly identical thing, so. Anyway, so we've managed to accomplish the, obviously, Rainbow Downhill track, and we got ourselves the next item, which appears to be something like a similar item, as what Bowser Jr. used from Super Mario Sunshine or something like that, or Shadow Mario to be more precise. Speaking of Mario, the last challenge game in terms of the entire game itself, which appears to be, we're actually going to be racing against with Robo Mario. So Robo Mario, that's the challenge. You're able to race against him. Oh boy, we get into another territory where it comes to like other reskins of Marios. Like obviously we got Baby Mario, pretty obvious, Tanuki Mario, Metal Mario, Gold Mario, as well as other costume variations of Marios in the forms of Mario Kart Tour. And now we have Robo Mario. Well, despite the fact that we're not going to be playing as him at least, but obviously in this challenge is the fact that you have to beat him. So I think this is by far one of the most trickiest challenge games I've ever going to be playing through. Because if you somehow manage to mess up in terms of the challenge game, luckily you do got multiple chances by the way. Because if you somehow manage to able to continue your progressioning when you didn't get the cup yet, well, you can able to try again, but obviously you do need to able to play any kind of racetracks whenever you want to go to. So if you do manage to win that at least, then you can obviously give this another attempt. So at least that's generous at least. So all you have to do is basically you have to beat him and that's all you have to do. But here's the thing though, we need to watch out for his items, mainly with like banana peels as well as the forms of the green shells that we have to avoid. So but if you manage able to get to the goal before Robo Mario, then that's how you win the actual challenge. So there we go. We got all the cups in the game, all 6 of them to be exact, and also we got ourselves the well, a weird kind of mushroom. So yeah, that seems interesting to say the least. So I think that pretty much ends it up in terms of Mario Kart Arcade GP1. And for my impressions of this game, it's actually pretty dang good. It certainly feels more accurately the most underrated Mario Kart game I ever played. Like, to be more specifically, due to the forms of this is on the arcade machines exclusively. And also I do really love the aesthetics about the game. Sure, the character models can be a bit rough around the edges, to be more specifically, it becomes more accurately resembles to Mario Kart Double Dash, mind you. However though, as far as these tracks as far as I'm concerned, I actually enjoy most of them because they certainly look a bit more unique. Especially noticeable for Pack Lapworth especially. So apart from those side things though, the music is quite nicely, it's quite nice music to listen to. And I suppose that's pretty much how I can usually think about it in terms of Mario Kart Arcade GP1. Sure, the actual rubber banding can be the only downside, which is pretty much true. But, and also this game is like super duper short. Unless if you really want to go for advanced challenges, well, more power to you. But honestly, I'm gonna do those on my own time, mind you. So because of that though, yeah, that pretty much takes care of the forms of Mario Kart Arcade GP1. So this is me, Maxi here, from the likes of the Maxi Toys. And then until then, next up in terms of the Mario Kart retrospective wise, next up it will be Mario Kart Arcade GP2. And oh boy, I'm actually really looking forward to Mario Kart Arcade GP2, just because, well, of course I already mentioned this before, that was the only Mario Kart Arcade game I fondly remembered. And it should be exciting, all things considered. So yeah, I'll leave you to it, and I'll see you guys until God knows when. See you then. Bye.